I really don't like making videos like this because if it were up to me, I would just be talking about baseball 24/7 and nothing else. But unfortunately, days like today happen where politics leak into the game of baseball and we have to talk about it because there are some things that are happening that are completely unjust and unfair, and you guys have to know about it because sometimes the mainstream media, they have to make their bosses happy and they're afraid to step on toes. Me, I don't have a boss. I can just give you guys the facts, and that is why I love what I do. I am not going to sugarcoat anything because reports have surfaced, I can't believe I'm even saying this out loud, that Major League Baseball owners want to continue to pay their minor leaguers nothing for spring training. They essentially want minor league players to play for free because they should be grateful that they were given the opportunity to even play professional baseball in the first place. And if that wasn't juicy enough, the Chicago White Sox dropped a bombshell. It's a bombshell to some, it makes sense to others. They are having a mandate pretty much requiring every single minor league player in their organization to get the booster shot. And if you don't, hey, we're not going to grant you a release. You will be forced to get the booster, or you're not going to get any playing time, or you just have to retire from the game that you love. So we're going to go ahead and talk about all of that in today's video. And also, at the time of this recording, Robert Manfred and the players are currently in a meeting to try and get a deal done and end the lockout. But I'll go ahead and update you guys in the next few hours, or probably into tomorrow or after the Super Bowl. But let's go ahead and get into the thick of things. Like I mentioned, Major League Baseball and their owners are advocating, again, wait for it, against paying minor leaguers in spring training. And the worst part is Major League Baseball hired an expert to argue for them the fact that they shouldn't pay minor league players in spring training. And they paid that expert a crazy $750 an hour to argue on their behalf and to get their point across. So the money is there. If they can pay an expert $750 for a couple hours of work, I mean, that's insane to me. These guys are billionaires and they're trying to treat their minor league professional players as interns, as unpaid interns, and that they should be grateful for the experience, a lot like me when I was a biology major and I had to give my time to a hospital completely for free in the hopes that I would one day be a doctor, and then I dropped out, so it was all for nothing. So here is their reasoning for zero pay in spring training. Again, I'm talking about the owners and their perspective. So the owners now will be paying for housing in 2022 and beyond. And they believe, according to this $750 an hour expert, that the owners pay about $2,200 a week on every single player in their organization. That comes down to food, training, facilities, and in their minds, the players, because they get world-class training and access to prestigious facilities, they should not be given a stipend of any extra money aside from food money. So I did reach out to a few of my friends that play minor league baseball. Some of them are high first round draft picks, so they have a lot of money in the bank to rely on. But I also talked to a few of my guys that were drafted in the 15th round, later rounds, or even some guys that weren't drafted at all. They are coming from different countries, from overseas, and they signed for $10,000 2 years ago. So they're trying to rely on that. And at that point, again, if you're a first round draft pick, you have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in a safe nest. You're gonna be fine. But I was talking to a few of my guys that were drafted in the first round, and they feel horrible for some of their friends that are working 2 or 3 extra jobs because Major League Baseball and the owners are not paying them during spring training. So you might have a chance of being picked up by a top 30 prospect in an organization if you try and get an Uber or a Lyft ride in Arizona, because you have guys working Uber and Lyft. If you order McDonald's, heck, you could have a top 5 prospect showing up to your door with Subway. Yes, because they're working as Postmate drivers. So that is the biggest argument right now in terms of should we pay players, minor league players who are in spring training, or should they just be grateful that they're even there? That is the owner's perspective, and I want you guys to let me know in the comment section down below, what is the consensus? Should they be grateful to have what they have, or should they demand more? I'm all about improving. I don't care if needs are met. If needs are met, fine, that got done, but it doesn't mean that other needs don't have to be met as well. Just because you get housing doesn't mean that you shouldn't also get paid $500 a week to live a normal, proper life. These guys are treated like unpaid interns, and it really just bothers me. And I just can't believe that the owners are trying to get away with this. It's free labor, in my opinion. Now, I understand that they have prestigious facilities, but a lot of these dudes, they come from overseas and countries where they just love the game of baseball and they grew up without prestigious facilities, and that's how they grew to love the game, and they honed in on their skills using sticks and sunflower seeds and not having cleats. You think that they really need world-class diets and world-class facilities? No, they can do without. So that is, I start to get a little bit angry because it comes off as condescending. We pay $2,200 a week so you can have world-class access to everything that we think you deserve. You know what they deserve? Life-changing money, whether it's $500 a week to send to their family that is in desperate need of food, not a workout machine. Okay, so before we get too upset, let me move on over to the most political part of today's video, and I'm sure the comment section is gonna be very respectable and appropriate, and just at least if you do comment on this matter, try to be nice about it. So the Chicago White Sox are mandating all of their minor league players to get the booster shot. If you do not get the booster, you will not be playing baseball. So here are two different arguments. I'm gonna go ahead and put it up on the screen right now because I was curious what the majority of people were thinking on Twitter. So argument A is that the White Sox are a private entity, minor league players, they're not unionized, so if the White Sox enforce a mandate, the players have to abide by that, and if they don't, the White Sox will not release them. So the White Sox are saying, get the booster and you can play. If you don't, we are not going to grant you a release so you can go to another team. You will be stuck with us until your contract expires or you retire. Argument B is that exactly what I just said. It's cool that the White Sox are trying to prioritize safety. I mean, Yoan Moncada, he says that even today in 2022, he still hasn't fully gotten over getting COVID back in 2020. So they're trying to avoid situations like that. They're trying to avoid areas of concern that would cause games to get canceled or their star players to not be on the field. So they're trying to get a 100% compliance rate like they did in 2021. 100% of the White Sox organization was vaccinated just a year ago. The difference is this time around, not every single player is vaccinated. Yes, they do have some unvaxxed players, mainly minor leaguers. So if those minor league players do not want to get vaccinated, they will be forced to sit out. The White Sox, again, will not be granting any releases. It gets very sticky. Those are the two sides of the argument. Argument A is, hey, the White Sox and really every other team in sports or just corporate America should be allowed to enforce any mandate that they want, and they're prioritizing safety and they should be commended. The flip side is, sure, you can prioritize safety, but when it comes down to enforcing a mandate, and if that person doesn't follow it, they can't quit, because baseball players can't just quit a job like you and I. They can't quit and go find another job in the same occupation. They're legally bound to the Chicago White Sox organization, and Chicago has stated they will not be releasing these guys. You're stuck with us, deal with it. And that's where people kind of draw the line and say, hey, I'm all about getting vaccinated and being selfless and taking care of the people around you, but you kind of cross the line talking about the White Sox when you say, hey, if you don't get it, you're stuck. You can't go to another team that is not enforcing you to be vaccinated. At least the compromise should be allow those players to request a trade and leave it at that. They're probably not going to be major league players. I mean, maybe they're talking about a top 5 prospect. I have no idea. But those were the two biggest stories from the last 24 hours. Owners do not want to pay, I should say. I don't know why that was so hard to say. They don't want to pay minor league players for spring training. They are saying you should be grateful for the opportunity to even be here. And then also the White Sox are mandating a vaccine requirement for all minor league players. And if you don't get it, they're not going to release you and you're stuck with them until you get that booster. So let me know your thoughts. I know today is going to get a little bit dicey. I'm just crossing my fingers that Manfred and the players sign a deal. But that does it. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.